Let's go for it then. Welcome, everyone. My name is Shiva. I'm one of the executive officers of Foster Connect, and I'm joined by Sneha and Sahana, our other officers. Sneha wishes she could be here, but some work-related stuff came up, so she's busy with that. But that being said, we thank you guys for coming today. We know the last few weeks have been difficult and that exams are coming up, so it really means a lot to us that you guys are present with us today. And for those of you who are new, I don't see many newcomers in here. In fact, I think I saw a lot of you in the previous meeting. But for those of you who are new, Foster Connect is a foster youth advocacy organization founded to promote volunteerism and positive relationship between UT Dallas and the foster community in Dallas. Today we have the privilege of being joined by Ms. Jai McClean. She is an author first and foremost, and a passionate foster youth advocate. And I'll let her introduce herself, maybe a bit of a background.
Yeah, thank you so much. And again, thank you everybody for just taking time out of the day. I know you're students and there are so many other things you could be doing right now. And so I'm honored. But as you mentioned, my name is Jai McClean. I just wrote my first book. I'm a foster youth advocate. And so I'm also a foster youth alum. I spent 2 years in the foster care system. But transitioning out of the system and going into college and just being an adult is what impacted my life the most. The work that I kind of do, I do a few different things. For one, it will be consulting with nonprofit organizations. So a lot of them will partner with me or hire me to work with them one-on-one for maybe 2 to 3 months. And what I'll find is that a lot of their strategies and their methodologies are good, but they just need a little bit of help actually getting to their target audience. So I might help with marketing and actually helping connect them with foster youth. Another thing I do is connect with universities. So I just partnered with Hampton University, which is the school I went to. And so they've hired me as a vendor and a keynote speaker. And I also partner with school districts. A school district that I partner with is the Riverside School District in Riverside, California. And I pretty much help them improve their educational outcomes. So I'll partner with them with programs and initiatives that they have and give them ways on how they can improve those. And so that's just a little bit about me.
So with that being said, brief question. This is irrelevant to the main topic at hand, but so where do you typically work? Do you work with organizations nationwide, or do you typically work with Texas-based or California-based organizations?
Well, honestly, because of the pandemic, it's been a little bit easier for me to work with organizations nationwide. And just within the last 30 days, since the last time we spoke, I've just been highly sought after from nonprofit organizations and all over the place. And so I have connected with one in Dallas, Texas that I do want to connect this organization with. And I'll talk a little bit more about that, and I'll send you some information.
Awesome, yeah.
But yeah, I've connected with organizations or schools in Virginia, Dallas, Texas, California, and New York.
Awesome. So with that being said, I wanted to kind of go back to the foster youth advocacy aspect of and so with that, my question to you is, what was the motivation behind becoming a foster youth advocate? So any specific experiences that you can recall and speak about if you're comfortable?
Yeah. All I wanted to do was to get to college. That was my heart. That was it. I just wanted to get there and at least have it paid for. So I thought that foster care was my ticket. It was my golden ticket. And fortunately, my experience in foster care, I was blessed. I found my forever mom, and I wish most foster youth would have that experience. But unfortunately, many of them end up abused, neglected, and come out dealing with so much more trauma than they did going in. But, I found my mom, and I had her, and she had me. But transitioning out, I was only 18 years old, and most foster youth, most of us graduate a year later. And so I was one of those students. I graduated high school at 19. I had to figure out how to get myself through my senior year in high school, figure out how to find a job, how to manage my time, how to apply for scholarships and FAFSA. I had no one to really guide me through any of these processes. My social worker, sometimes their caseload is just so much that they aren't able to really give each of their students or their kids the one-on-one attention they need. So I was just pretty much fending for myself. I ended up taking advantage of an HBCU college fair that came from the East Coast to the West Coast, and I got accepted to a few schools on the spot. One of them being Hampton University, and I ended up taking the small scholarship that they gave me and went to college. By the time I got to my junior year of college, I was working 3 jobs, taking class full time. I was taking about 19 credits, and I was a biology major, so a lot of my classes were my class and my 4-hour lab. And as many of you know, it was difficult. It was tough. And I mean, I was working and doing homework as late as 2 a.m. and had to get up for 8 a.m. And so it was tough. I ended up transferring to another school, hoping that I could get more resources and more funding. But funding was always lost, and it seemed to just never be enough. And at the very least, I thought that, as a youth coming out of foster care, a youth considered ward of the state, I should at least have my college paid for.
Right.
And as I was doing a little bit more research, I realized that I wasn't the only one. And when I saw the statistics and the numbers nationally, less than 3% of all foster youth received a college degree. I mean, I was furious.
Right.
And so I said something needed to be done, because 80 to 85% of these kids do want to go to college, just like me, and I was one of them. And so that was kind of just where my advocacy work started, and that was what fueled the passion behind it.
Gotcha. So it seems that education is a pretty big cornerstone behind your advocacy. So you said that you worked with the Riverside School District in California or something along those lines, right?
Yes.
So could you speak about maybe a couple programs or initiatives that you guys worked on together to improve this imbalance?
Yeah. So Riverside, Riverside, California, their school district, they're doing an amazing job. They have some of the highest numbers, and they currently have 3 different programs that they're working on. And I'll just give you an example for one. One is specifically targeted for foster youth and homeless students in all of the 501 schools that they oversee. And many students that are homeless come from foster care, and so they usually go hand in hand. And so they will take these, house all of these students and take them to summits. They teach them how to apply for financial aid. They give them tips about how they can, mentor them. And so they have quite a few programs that they've put in place, and they're, government funded. So they get grants from the federal government to help them with these initiatives. And what I do appreciate, and what I've been seeing, and this was something that I also wish that I had, these youth just need somebody to literally walk them through these things step by step. So financial aid, scholarships, and applications. They just need a place and an opportunity. And it can only take, maybe 2 or 3 events. And so most of the programs and initiatives that Riverside has implemented, where sometimes they'll take the kids out of school on a field trip. All of the kids who identify as homeless or foster youth, they'll take them out of school for, and this is maybe once or twice a year, for a couple of hours, those trying to go to college, and host events and programs for them to actually have a place where they can apply for financial aid and apply for scholarships, and actually guide them through that step by step. And that, that has made all the difference. And it's definitely something that I wish would have been available to me going into college.
But yeah, that being said, I appreciate the work that you're doing, and it's obviously we're a small club right now, but eventually down the line we hope to have a similar impact in the Dallas community that you've had for that school. So Sneha, what do you think?
Right, and as Shiva was saying, the work that you've been doing has served as such a great inspiration for us, especially because we don't have many other college organizations similar to what we're doing to, I guess, be inspired by. So with your work being done, and going from your past experience being in the foster care system, now working as someone who's grown out of it, and using your experiences to help other people not maybe go through experiences that have stereotypically been known to have been undergone by foster care youth. With your experiences, what have you seen has changed from all these years kind of being exposed to it both positively and negatively?
That's a really good question, and thank you for asking me that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest changes that I've seen is that I am seeing that more people are becoming aware with, and it hasn't been through just foster care advocacy. And, it's something that many foster youth are ashamed to talk about and come out about. So it's just not something that we talk about much. But, we've been following the media, things like Black Lives Matter.
Right.
And we're hearing more about sex trafficking.
Right.
And how that's just taking the world by storm. People are starting to see that most of these people came out of foster care. 80% of sex trafficking victims came from foster care. And so I think it's honestly other organizations and other initiatives like that have shed light on foster care. Where are these kids coming from? Where are these people coming from? What is their background?
Mm-hmm.
And so people are just becoming more aware, and awareness is a good thing, because for a long time, the foster system, being a foster child, it's just not something that's really talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So some positive changes, I would definitely have to say awareness has been one. And a lot of organizations are also seeing that a lot of these kids are not going to college. The resources are there, the money is there,
mm-hmm.
but it's getting lost, and we don't know why. And so it's been the more and more nonprofits, organizations, and schools that I talk to about, what they're doing, we're starting to see the gap. And so I'll give you an example. I really, really love the work that you're doing. And Hampton University really recently reached out.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I love that school because I went there.
Right.
And it was a question that I brought up. I said, well, what are we doing for foster youth? What are we doing for youth that are considered the ward of the state or homeless? And there's nothing being done. And so this school, this organization, Foster Connected, there just are not many organizations or many schools taking advantage of this platform, and it's something that we really need to spread awareness about.
Right.
But yeah, so it's the awareness has been just stemming off of a lot of other issues,
mm-hmm.
and I think as of recently, we're starting to learn more about foster care and foster youth and the things that they've been through.
Yeah, I know, especially with the pandemic going on and everyone being at home, I know a lot of people have had more time to, learn more about the different things that have been going on, especially with the BLM movement picking up earlier in around June. I know people have become much more aware about social disparities and everything like that. So I think that has definitely been a big step in, kind of seeing, as you said, what are the backgrounds of people that are, being affected by this majoritively and all that. So I'm really glad that awareness is being picked up about the foster care system. So, Sahana, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah. I, like, you touched on, like, how the foster care system has already changed, like, with awareness, like, a lot of these issues being brought to light, and, like, a little bit, like, on what more we need to do to improve, like, I guess the lives of the kids, like providing them with education or just helping them as best as we can with what we have. What would you want to see, like, change in the future, either in, like, awareness for the foster care system or, like, just something that, like, we can do to help?
Absolutely. And I can answer that question just by, like, we can see that this is a problem all across the board. I mean, this is a national issue. And to fix, and my belief is to fix any crisis or any issue that is happening nationally, we need to look at what's going on in the community. And we're finding that churches, student organizations, nonprofits, for a long time just have not focused their attention on helping foster youth. And one thing that can be done, and I've answered this question quite a bit lately, is as